Okay, so we are back Tuesday, March 24th for the next daily instructional video. We're going to just pick right up where we left off yesterday, trying to keep these videos as short as possible. Okay, little review of the 4 phases we need to go through in order to accomplish this heel hook right here. Okay, yesterday we stuck with one straight ashigarami all the way through, more the simple version. Today we're going into that more complex version for a highly skilled opponent. So we're going to start first with that same entry, the regular straight ashigarami that you see here. Okay, we have a leg lock position. Foot is in the hip. Very good, easy entry. We can get to it from the bottom with single leg X. We can get to it from the top. But there's lots of escapes and counters from this position, especially when we go digging for that heel hook exposure. Okay, so what we're going to do after entry, when we do want to expose the heel, is we are going to change into an inside ashigarami. So you see here, he takes his foot off the hip, he switches his own hips, and sends the foot over to the inside. What that does is it really exposes the heel. As you switch your hips, it's popping your heel, the opponent's heel, right out. So you can then get your forearm underneath, and now we have access to the heel without having to go dig for it too much. So now we've went from one phase to that second phase, exposing the heel. This is where the real meat and potatoes of today's lesson comes in. Okay, so once we get into this inside ashigarami with our outside leg coming over to the inside, really good for exposing the heel, but it's not very good for controlling your partner and taking away any escapes. In fact, it kind of leads them into the escape now because your knees are starting to point in the other direction, which is encouraging the roll to happen. Okay, so if we stick with this, which I used to do all the time and lose the heel hook then at this point, if you stick with this inside ashigarami, it's really easy for your partner to get to a knee and kick out because your knees are pointed up while his knee is pointed down towards the mat. So we don't have much control here with this inside ashigarami. So as we move into phase 3, we will lose it if we don't then go into the next position. You can see here that his opponent can easily then kick out of this position. He loses the knee line and it's all over. So what's the best way to do this? What's the best way to go from phase 2 into phase 3? Okay, so we went from 1 into 2. We got the leg to the inside. We're starting to expose the heel. As soon as we get under that heel and gain control, we're going to go from an inside ashigarami to a far hip ashigarami. And what that looks like is we're going to be taking the leg that was on the inside and we're going to send it over to the far hip. And we do that, we're making a triangle right here. Just like you have a triangle submission off of your back, we're going to be clamping with our heels, doing that hamstring curl to make everything nice and tight. This far side ashigarami is what's going to help us control that phase number 3, which is resisting the roll. We do need to look out for potential threats there so we keep everything nice and snug. Really pull with your heels back, do that hamstring curl, and make everything tight. Now, as he goes to try to roll, say he goes to face the floor, our hips are actually going to go with him. Our knees will point in the same direction as his knee, which makes everything really tight, makes us really stick with him throughout the roll. We're not going to lose him during the roll and have him escape. We're going to stick with him. Creates a super, super tight connection. He can't escape. In fact, this guy's, he's even pulling really hard here. I think he's going to try dragging John across the mat at this point, and there's a complete connection there. No escaping. We still have the heel hook locked in place. Okay, so now we're going into the last phase, the 4th phase, best phase there is, right? The submission. So we have the heel, we have the far side hip ashigarami. So we're connected. Our knees are pointing down along with his knees. He's trapped. We could apply the heel hook right here at this point. If he doesn't move, it's done. However, he may be encouraged to continue to roll. You could do a drop step with this free leg right here. It's going to be really important for us to stay down on our shoulder as we apply the heel hook right here. And if we get it, great. If we don't get the submission because he does the drop step, staying down flat like this is going to help us roll with him. So we're going to do a log roll right in with our partner if he does do the drop step. And we're going to come out. Look at right here where our legs end up. Actually end up with our legs to the outside when we rolled with him. The heel was already exposed. We had control of that since the second phase. So now we're in a great position to go ahead and finish. As long as we arch our hips off the floor, drive our hips in, make a nice straight line, we're going to get that tap. Because our legs are in this situation now, it's really hard for him to escape. When we did the simple version, our feet were in that regular straight ashigarami, and it was really easy for our opponent to possibly escape. But because our legs are crossed like this, it's really hard to uncross those crossed legs. You can see here, if it's a regular ashigarami, that it's really easy to escape from. But because we're in a situation where our legs are crossed, and we've got the heel, and he doesn't, we can go right for our finish. And the finish has got so much force because as we pull this heel hook to our left, our knees will be pointed to the right. Those opposing forces make it tremendous pressure, and we get the finish. So let's see the whole complex way all the way through. We'll see what made Danaher's guys so famous for winning these big competitions with their leg locks. This ability to move from one ashigarami to the next. Okay, so when we go through all four phases of the heel hook, we have a different position for each one of those phases to accomplish what we want. So we see here that he's in a straight ashigarami. He moves that foot to the inside. That exposes the heel. Once we get the heel, that's our indicator. We got it. We accomplished phase 2. We're then going to switch our inside foot to the far hip ashigarami. Tighten everything up, clamp it in nice and tight. Now we're connected to our opponent. If he wants to roll, that's fine. We could possibly get a finish right here, but if he takes the drop step, we continue to roll with him. Our legs end up on the outside with our knees pointed in the opposite direction of the force that we're applying on the heel, which puts all the torque on the knee. Little hip elevation and drive and pull, and we get a pretty nasty heel hook right there. All right, that is the complex way. We'll bring you more tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Everyone be safe out there. Have a good night.